All right. This is so fantastic because we're going to dive into like kind of a soul sister situation talk. What we're about to talk about, you guys, is like, good stuff. I just absolutely love the topic about protein and health and really like hooking people up so that they're set up for success. And so I just can't wait to get going. Let's do it. Welcome, Jessica Estes, to the Badass Reset Club. Let's dive in. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, I'm doing really good myself. We're recording this on a Friday afternoon in January. So not a lot happening in the world. And so like the focus right now seems to be primarily on health. And most people are, still in the thick of their January um, health focus. And you are like a total twin in like what you want to do for people. I absolutely love that you want people to be able to dive in to their health a little bit more and do it in a really cool way. So before we even get to that, to the good stuff, to what I really want to talk about today, I do want to get to know you too, because you've got such an incredible background. Coming in as an Air Force veteran, like bowing down. Thank you for your service and everything
Oh,
that you've
you're
done.
welcome.
So awesome. I'm very much a big supporter and, you know, what can we say? Anybody that serves their country deserves mad respect. But not only that, we're going to talk all about your special boxes today. And I'm sure the audience is like, what is she talking about? We're going to talk all about that. But for real, you're working full time as a realtor, yes?
Yes, I am. Yep.
In Boise. And you're also a mom to two teenagers, and that's a job in itself.
Yes, absolutely. Two teenage girls.
Two teenage girls. Yes.
Yeah.
I only have one girl and two boys, and my girl was really, piece of cake. Hopefully your situation's like that too.
My girls are absolutely amazing. Yes. Yeah.
Ah, lucky and blessed. Good. But like you're a busy lady and
Yeah,
you're a busy lady with a really cool story. So you spent 21 years serving in the Air Force,
I did. Yeah,
but you also went on this massive health journey.
I did. Yeah. So, I mean, my entire like growing up, like in the first 15 years of the Air Force, I was always on the weight management program. I was always too fat. I couldn't pass my PT test. I would just barely scrape by. I would do all the fad diets and lose weight just enough to pass my PT test and then forget about it for the rest of the year. And then in
Wow.
2015, I finally decided that I'm going to stop doing all the fad diets and get my life in order and try to figure out something that is sustainable that I can basically I have to change my entire life, like lifestyle,
Mhm.
to be able to sustain a healthy weight. So, and then I finally figured that out along the way.
Yeah. So it's been like 9 years.
It has. Yeah. Yeah. I lost 50 pounds between 2014 and 2015, and I've kept it off since then.
That's a lot of weight in one
It
year.
is. Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
lot of weight. Okay. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you're probably like, really? Because you look like the epitome of health,
Oh,
right?
thank you.
Like hard to believe picturing you with 50 pounds on. And that's got to feel incredible when that comes off too. Like joints, everything's got to feel so much better.
Yeah.
And then I think it's also like a real big mindset shift that you must have had too, because to keep it off, that's where most people struggle.
Yes, absolutely. It's a huge mindset shift because yeah, before, well, and it's honestly, it was a lot of learning, right? I didn't
Mm,
know what to eat. It was, I felt that there were so many different types of diets out there because there was so many different types of ways to lose weight,
yep.
when in reality it was always calories in, calories out. And then once I figured out macros and how to prioritize protein in my diet, that was the game changer.
Yes. Yes. See, this is why she is like a soul sister. I wholeheartedly agree. I do think some people struggle with, certain metabolic issues. But for the most part, yes, when we are eating what we need to eat and the right macro distribution, we have energy and we can build muscle mass and we can lose weight and keep it off.
Yeah.
So when you did that, then you turned that around and wanted to help other people.
I did because I like, so whenever I get into something, I like just deep dive into it and I'm just like, we're going all in. It's either all in or nothing.
Yep.
Right. So I got all of this. I just noticed that there was so much random crappy information on the internet. And I was like, all right, you know what? I need to find out the real information. I did a bodybuilding show and I was put on a meal plan and where I wasn't able to do any type of adjustments. And I'm like, you know what? There's got to be a nutrition, like where I can make adjustments and make this more tailored to me. And so I decided I was going to become a certified nutrition consultant. And I went that path so that I could really, I did it so that I could have more knowledge because I really don't like to give people advice if I don't have the knowledge myself. So I got as much knowledge as I could so that I could help other people. Because once you start losing weight or once you change your life, everybody wants to know your secret, right?
Yes.
Well, there's no secrets. There's just watch what you eat, and go outside and go for walks. It's and lift heavy weight, so like you just have to do all of the things, but I wanted to make sure that I was knowledgeable and that I wasn't going to give them bad information.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And you got your training, didn't you?
No, I didn't do the personal training. My ex-husband and he got the personal training.
Okay.
And then together we had our own personal training business where I did all the diets and then he did all of the exercises and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So when you went through that and realized that yes, you could tailor things to what you need, right?
Yeah.
Did you start to feel like there were more things available? Personally, like when I went through my certifications, it just seemed like more things were popping up left, right, and center. Or maybe it was just that I was more in tune to it, had like another eye on it. But it just seemed like what you were saying earlier too. There's something different every time you open up social media or every time you listen to a conversation. There seems to be some new way. And like once you learn about it, you're like, but no. Like all that extra noise, no.
Yeah, there's just the basics. You don't have to go completely off to one side. You don't have to, cut out complete food groups and
right.
All that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. I mean, there's actually like a newer one that I've just been hearing or seeing more on social media that's cropping up now. And it's that 30-30-30. Like
That's back?
it might be back in a different way.
Okay.
So now it's 30 grams of protein 30 minutes after waking up.
I didn't.
Yeah, this is the newest. And so like I'm curious whenever I see these things pop up, I do want to just say stop, but I also want to know why they're saying that. And I want to know like what's the science behind what they're saying and where's the data coming from? Like I am really curious, but we do know like the most important thing that we need to be doing is holding on to our muscle mass. And how are we going to do that? With the protein and with lifting and specifically lifting heavy shit. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Yes. And we can say that on this podcast.
Okay.
Because it's true. We know it's true. So I was drawn to you because I absolutely love the product line that you've come up with. And so we'll just spill it for the audience. You have what's called Lifter's Loot. And if you haven't heard of this, it's a monthly subscription and it's different samples. So like there's protein samples and pre-workout and high protein snacks. And you please just chime in with how did that come to be? How did you get it going? And then I'll have like 20 more questions.
So when I was going through my journey, I knew I had to add protein in. And I would go into those nutrition stores and there's just boxes and bags and so overwhelming. And I'm like, there's 800 different types of protein, you know, like, and then so I'm like, okay, I would just hurry it up and like grab like, okay, let's go vanilla because that's like, you know, like everybody's
Safe.
like go-to, right? And then you get it home and you buy, so you spend $50 on this jug of protein, you get it home and it's grainy and it tastes like crap. And so then you're like, oh my God, it is, and you can't take it back because you already opened it. So then it just sits in your pantry and you're not going to throw it away because you spent money on it. So what do? You wait till it expires and then you throw it away. So I was like so frustrated with having all of this random shit in my pantry that I was never going to eat. And I'm like, there's got to be a way to buy samples of this stuff so that I don't have to waste my money. And it's the same thing with all the snacks. So, I mean, now you can go into the store and you can buy like one snack at a time, but there's just tons of different varieties. And then I'm just like, I don't know what's good. I don't know, you know, and it's overwhelming. So I was like, all right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going, because, you know, like all these subscription boxes have started, you know, coming out. This was like a couple of years ago when I was thinking about this and I was like, this would be a cool idea. I want to put a little box together. Actually, it came from GNC. I got my idea from GNC because they had the membership box and but in their box, they had like 2 pills, one little packet of like like a hydro mix-in or something, you know, and I'm like, this is crap. And I paid $40 for this, you know, I'm like, this is not worth it. I'm like, but I could make this better. So I actually went online and found that there are a couple other boxes that are similar to what I wanted to do, but they have like t-shirts and lifting gear and stuff that I really wasn't interested in. I was interested in just the nutrition portion of it. So I was like, all right, I have to figure this out. So I got a hold of a couple of protein companies and hardly any of them do sample packs, but I did find some. And then I was like, all right, well, here's what we'll do. We're going to find companies that I can buy samples off of. And then I'm going to buy a bunch of snacks that I want to try and see if anybody else wants to try them too. So that's how Lifters Leap got started. It's basically a bunch of stuff that I wanted to try anyway. And I figured since I wanted to try it, I will share it with everybody else.
It's so genius. Like truly. And you and I were talking, you know, before this call a little bit about it. Like I'm so sensitive to protein powder, especially, but different things will set my stomach ablaze. And I have to be really careful. And therefore, I don't want to spend money on the big things. I really don't.
Do you know what ingredients in particular you're sensitive to, or is it just maybe like the way that they process the actual protein?
That's a really good question. I don't know what it is because some whey proteins I can handle and some look like I'm going to have quintuplets. And yeah. And so, and I can spend days looking like
Oh no.
really bloated. And so I'm just very sensitive. So when I find something, I stick to it, but I would like a little more variety. I would like to try more things. But that's a good question. Do you know how I can find out?
When I started listening to Andy Frisella's MFCEO podcast,
Mhm.
I actually learned a little bit about the way that First Form processes their protein.
Okay.
And so they do like a cold processing, so where they don't so I guess a lot of people they buy their bulk protein from China
Okay.
and then they bring it over and do the way that China processes it, because you know, whey protein is just a byproduct.
Mhm.
Um, and the way they process it is by high temperature, right? And then they, you know, put all other kind of things into it to get it into its powder form.
Okay.
Companies like Allmax and First Form, they do cold processing where it's not that it's just processed.
That's really
So
interesting.
it's more bioavailable to your system. So
Okay.
that might be an easier option. So far, the only 2 companies that I've got responses from but I mean, besides, so it's first form in Allmax, and Allmax is a company out of Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And their ISO is, I know 100% their ISO is cold processed, but other
Okay.
than that, I haven't found any more companies that process it that way. And they are a little bit more expensive because I think that process is costly, but
Yeah, super interesting. The product that I'm currently using is out of New Zealand.
it
Um,
seems, it seems like outside of the US,
right?
they have stricter regulations on what kind of garbage they can put into it. So you're probably going to be safe if it's an outside the US product.
What's up
But
with
it's so
that?
sad. It is
I
so
mean,
sad because yeah, our food system is terrible here.
how do we change that? I know this
I don't
isn't what we were going to talk
I
about, but
know.
I think you
The,
and I need to like start this motion to
I know.
change it. And it
I,
starts with our protein powders.
well, so supplements in general are not regulated.
Right, right. Which is frightening,
Yes, yes.
especially if you're buying them off of um, big name fast delivery places
With the free shipping.
with free shipping that will show up at your doorstep at 4 a.m. when you order it at 10 p.m. the night before.
Yeah, or I even heard on Andy's podcast they were talking about how Costco has different it's like a different grade of protein than what you can find in other stores.
Wow.
I didn't know that either. This was
Huh.
years this was probably 2017 like when I heard all that stuff. So
Yeah.
interesting.
Oh my. Wow. Well, I think that we have to be wary of where things come from. And also, we also have to be wary of what we're taking in, like the latest Netflix documentaries. Like, you have to really you have to really know what you're reading, listening to, buying. And so let's go back to the lifters loot. Like you're hand picking and you're selective, right?
Yeah.
Like,
So, I mean, right. So right now, so my goal is to be able to get enough subscribers to where I have the leverage to reach out to companies to be like, hey, I want your product, would you guys like to showcase your items in my boxes? But
mhm,
right now, I'm limited to just like wholesale sites and then smaller companies that I can buy wholesale from.
mhm.
So my options aren't like super great. I would like to be able to like, get more like organic and whole food type things. But right now my main snacks are just basically what I can get and then what looks super interesting that I want to try.
Love it. So what's the feedback like? What are people saying?
So I've gotten so a lot of the feedback is it's a lot of items every month.
Mhm.
And I had a lady that she did a year subscription last year and she was like, I just have too much stuff.
Oh my
She
gosh, Jessica's over delivering.
But yeah, I mean, the feedback has been great. It's just people are saying that it's just too many items. Like,
Wow. In my house,
okay.
it would go fast. Here's my problem. Like with my baby is 18 and having an 18-year-old young man who works out a lot, your stuff goes really quick.
Oh,
So
oh, I'm sure
I
grocery
do,
bills
I do
flat.
have to hide some of my own supplements and things because it disappears. Like you get creatine in the house and then it's gone.
Well, see, there you go. If you find a protein powder that upsets your stomach, I'm sure Iron Gut over there can take it.
Yes, I buy Iron Gut his own a little bit less expensive
Yeah.
protein powder because my New Zealand is a little too spendy right now. That's that's awesome stuff. Okay, so going down the road when you are bigger and you're picking up more, like do you have a vision for where you want this to be? Do you see it? Like what's coming? What's up?
So honestly, I would love to grow this and just be able to make an impact in people's lives and help them just learn about how to eat better.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't eating healthy doesn't have to be restrictive and it doesn't have to like change your entire life. You can still live a fun, fulfilling life. You just don't have to eat an entire pizza at once, you know?
Absolutely. Or like in our house, Friday nights are pizza nights, and we make our own pizzas, and they're usually loaded up with some chicken and vegetables and a
Yeah.
little bit of cheese. Like it doesn't have to be really bad either.
Yeah.
So in your boxes, I think you and I talked a little bit about this, but are you putting other things in there
Yes.
besides
So
food?
yeah. Yeah. So I have a recipe. So I'm partnered with a local meal prep chef.
Hmm.
Um, and she gives me recipes to put in the boxes. And then I put a supplement fun fact on the back. So, people that are brand new to fitness can just read a little bit about, hey, this is what whey protein is, this is what isoprotein is, and just to get kind of not you're not gonna let's I'm not gonna give you an entire booklet of here's a whole bunch of supplements, be overwhelmed. You get one a
Yes.
month. you know let's do this slow, and because this is a learning process. You're not going to learn everything overnight about how to eat healthy.
Hmm.
This is something I want people to subscribe to my boxes to be able to slowly change the way that they're eating so they can incorporate more protein into their diet slowly.
Yep.
Because if you try to like change it all in once, you're gonna not it's not gonna work.
Absolutely. Make it sustainable, make it
Yeah.
last. And I think when you drip that kind of information too, it's much more retainable than giving them the book, right? Like
Yeah.
you might be, because you're an amazing entrepreneur, you might be wanting to like just give, but it does, I think, really make remarkable changes when it's slow and steady. Whenever I bring someone new into my coaching and we're talking about protein, we're starting slow because I know
It's
I've heard it before where people will be told like you need X amount of protein like today. And if you're not used to that, which most people aren't used to, you're really going to have some issues.
Yeah. Yeah. Because people are like, well, I can't eat that much in a day. And I'm like, that's okay. Let's just
Right?
increase a little bit. And then slowly, once you start getting used to changing one meal,
Mm-hmm.
let's work on two, and
Yep.
adding in these snacks from my boxes
Yes.
help because hey, this tastes like a candy bar. It's not really a candy bar, but it also has 20 grams of protein. So there you go. Like
Mm-hmm.
here's 20 grams of protein that you just ate, and it was not gross.
Okay, I have an idea for you, and no one else can take this, so you better trademark it. I
Okay.
think, in your spare time from selling homes and making people happy that way, I think you should also consider having your lifter's loot be like um, flyers loot. And then you've got small boxes in the airports ready to go for people who are getting on flights, and they've got like a little meat stick and some good protein solutions because it's a bunch of freaking garbage at the airport.
That's a great
I
idea.
mean, you could have like some hard boiled eggs and some yogurt like that you can find at the airport for,
$18.
I was going to say more, but but like there's so much junk readily available to grab. And now that they've got the, like you pay checkout yourself, and it's all sitting right there. Like you're tempted to just grab because you're like, oh, I'm going to be stuck on an airplane.
Oh, and
I
I can like put the macros right on there. Like, hey,
Yes.
this entire thing is this many calories. And yeah,
Yep. Yep. There you go. So like take that box and then let's get you in all different avenues too, because
yeah,
we need these things. I always say like in your car should be the emergency protein.
yes,
If
absolutely.
you're caught in a storm, in traffic, whatever it is, you're hangry.
I don't go anywhere without snacks because yeah, if I get hangry.
Same.
And if I'm out and about somewhere showing houses and it takes, some buyers take a really long time.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm like, okay, well, they're gonna go to a gas station and go get a hot dog. I'm like, I'm just gonna eat my snack that I've got in my car.
Yeah,
So
so smart.
yeah,
Or
just be prepared.
maybe you have sponsored home loot. for
That, you know what? Yeah, to give my clients.
yes.
Yeah, just like, yeah, little baggies of treats.
Uh, I'm changing all the names for you.
That's okay.
Oh, it's so fun to think about like how we can make the impact everywhere we go. And really it's not that hard
No.
when you just shift some habits, shift your thinking on it and be prepared. It's not that hard. But I do love, love, love the lifter's loot so that you can get exposure to new things. Because oftentimes I think we fall into very similar eating patterns with what we're having, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And then
So,
you don't know what my biggest issue was. I was always getting overwhelmed. And so
mm,
like if you have a small variety of things every month, then you can take your time and try each item. And then,
mhm.
hey, you know what? If you find one item that you like, then you can go buy that more of that item.
Yeah, totally. Totally. I'm really excited to get more people to try this. And I know that my listeners are used to hearing about we need more protein, especially as we age. So
Yes.
my little niche of the world that I am so passionate about is menopause and helping women to age like a badass. And I know that you know this, but for listeners who might not have heard this yet, we actually need more protein as we age because we're not absorbing it as well. So there's that. Like if you're going for your ideal body weight and your ideal body weight is 150 pounds, and you need 150 grams of protein. If you are like me in your 50s, you actually need a little bit more than that. So it's the little things to learn about what we can add in, and what you're doing is so helpful. So
Thank
awesome.
you. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so just a couple more questions for you. Where do people sign up for this box?
So you can go to liftersloot.com.
Liftersloot.com. That will be in the show notes. And is there anywhere else that they should find you on social?
So Lifters Loot also has an Instagram. It's under
Okay.
Lifters Loot. And then
Awesome.
my personal Instagram is Jessica_Estes1.
Okay. All three of those places will go into the show notes. And then is there anything that you wanted to share with us that I didn't ask you about?
I don't know. I really appreciate you giving me this opportunity to share Lifters Loot, which
I'm
is
excited for it,
awesome.
sister. Like,
Yeah.
I even sat down, I had heard about the idea of what you're doing, and I sat down for coffee with friends a few months ago, and I was like, you guys, I envision these protein samplers, and you and I even had that conversation. Like, it's really too difficult to get individualized protein samples because nobody's making them because they're not
Yeah.
going to profit off that. But boy, if we could figure out how you could do that, that A passes factory stuff, liability stuff, and isn't going to break our bank,
Yeah.
that would be great. But
I've honestly even thought about opening my own supplement store
mm,
just to figure out how to immerse myself more into this world and to help be more of a help to people to
wow,
changing their diets.
huh? I would support you 100% on that. I don't know how you can do all the things you do, but
Well, my kids are older and I'm single and I have a lot of free time.
yes, yes, yes. Okay. And my last question for you, Jessica, what makes you feel like a badass?
Being surrounded by other badass women.
Oh, same.
I love it so much.
Well, I adore that. And I hope that I get to meet you in real life at some point.
I will in April in at the BVA.
Maybe,
Oh,
maybe.
oh.
I have a commitment that I'm signed up for already. I'm
No.
seeing if I can get out of it. So hopefully, because that just sounds like it's right up my alley and would love to see you there. I really appreciate you coming on today and talking to us about this. We want everybody, but especially badass women, we want you guys to feel empowered and strong and set up for success and getting all your protein. So everybody's going to go check out this Lifters Loot membership, try it out, and support Jessica making strides to make everybody a little bit healthier. Thank you
And if
so
anybody
much,
has any
Jessica.
questions, if anybody ever has any questions, you can completely reach out to.
There you
I'm
go.
always available. So
There you go. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in to the Badass Reset Club, and we will see you next time.